you might just be wasting a lot of your ammo, and here's why. A good old unit of Streltsy and its ranged cone of vision has a max range of 140 meters, as anybody can see on their unit card. So this cone of vision represents that 140 meters, roughly around these markers. Now what the game doesn't show you though is a little stat called max calibration distance. This number is the point in your unit's range where their accuracy will significantly drop off. In the case of Streltsy, their max calibration distance is 100 meters. What this means is that up to 100 meters, the Streltsy's accuracy when shooting at a target will steadily and gradually get worse the farther away that target is. And that's just common sense, right? When something's closer to you, it's easier to hit than when it's farther away. That's just like good old real life. So what happens if we shoot at something after our calibration distance, in this case above 100 meters for the Streltsy? Well, that's where your accuracy starts to drop off drastically up to that maximum range. So this is where your unit is going to be wasting their ammunition because they're going to miss a lot outside of their maximum calibration distance. Hopefully that makes some sense. If not, I've got this video out there, Ranged Attack Secret Stats, where I delve much deeper into this subject. I'll link that bad boy at the end. To illustrate this point somewhat, here's a little example using some good old Kossars shooting at bloodletters. This first unit here is very close to its target and doesn't have far to fire at all. This middle unit is about halfway in its range below its calibration distance. And this farthest away unit is pretty much at its max range after its max calibration distance and thus at its most inaccurate. So we're just going to have all of these Kossars shoot at their target bloodletters and see what happens. The results here though should be fairly predictable. This unit that's really close, as you can see, its max range is miles away, so we're well below calibration distance and the unit should be pretty damn accurate at this close range. Now as this test has worn on, we can look at a few numbers. This close unit has killed around 50 troops and done about 600 gold value in damage. This middle unit has killed 36, so less than the last one, and about 500 value. And the farthest away unit has only killed 25 at around 400 value. So fairly predictable results, and as I say, common sense. But I would say most players seriously undervalue the power of being close to your target when you shoot it. For two main reasons. Number one, look at how much ammo this unit of Kossars has left. Over half. That's the unit that was close to its target. This middle one, just about under half, so maybe a third of its ammo left. That was the mid-range unit. And then the farthest away unit has about a quarter of its ammo left. And that's a pretty significant difference for just maybe a dozen steps forward. So it took less ammo to kill the target. That's more efficient with ammo. It's also more efficient with time because this close unit killed its target way quicker than the other two did, especially the farther away one. So when you are closer to your target, you will not only kill it faster, you will use less ammunition to do the job. All because your units are simply hitting the target more. And as I say, everybody knows this, right? It makes sense, it's obvious. But how many people actively move their units forward to be more accurate? I don't think many do. Take this skirmish cav example here. Normally with skirmish cav, people just select them and then hit the attack order right and just let them fire at them. That's it, job done. You don't think about it any more than that. Well, that's okay and it's fine and the unit will get closer to you over time, but why not just get closer to them in the first place? You're going to be more accurate, you're going to do damage faster, and the skirmish cav being skirmish cav are fine. They'll get away from trouble if they need to. And overall, you can just be more efficient with your ammunition and not waste it. Artillery can help us illustrate this pretty well, as you can manual fire it. If you hold down Alt when you've got artillery selected, you'll see this little grey circle appear. Watch what happens as you get farther away though, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. This is the visual representation of your accuracy being affected by distance. As you can see, accuracy is pretty horrifically poor here at the end of the max range of this artillery, and that grey circle is huge. And I'd say these plague bearers are roughly at around the calibration distance, so they're pretty much on the edge of where you really want to fire at them from, but you can see if I get closer, that circle gets much tighter and much more accurate, so that's maybe where I want to try to aim for. So if I move my unit a little bit closer, I can now get that grey circle pretty much as wide as the unit is, and that's some good accuracy, I would say, as we're significantly reducing our chance of missing because that circle is so much smaller. It works the same on missile units and flamers and all kinds of ranged units. That circle is there, we just can't see it apart from on artillery. So if you get a bit closer when you fire at stuff, you save a lot of ammunition and you get a lot more for the money. Take these Exalted Plague Bearers for example, they only have 3 ammunition, but if you use it from close range rather than at their max range, it's the difference between seriously wounding the enemy or completely wiping them out, as the close range unit has done. So that's just more value for money, being in closer proximity to the target. So the tactic here, if we can call it that, is simply to take a few steps forward when it is wise to do so, because you can get so much more out of your ammunition. Instead of just clicking an attack order at any old unit that's at your max range, try and get a bit closer to them. When it's safe to do so, of course, because sometimes if you get too close, they're going to charge at you and then your ammunition's going to be useless. So there is a time and a place for this. It's not going to be useful all the time, and especially not in this kind of situation. If you've got demonettes in front of you as pink horrors, you're going to get destroyed as those pink horrors because they're going to run up on you quick time. So it's not that all the time you have to look to try and get closer, it's just that opportunities do present themselves where you can safely get closer to the enemy and be more accurate. Here's a pretty common situation where this could be useful. I've got some missile units in my backline and there's a Bloodthirster. Let's say this is a full battle and these units are all fighting. There's a Bloodthirster mixed in, killing my front line of armored Cossars. I could shoot at the Bloodthirster from back here as I'm doing, but being so far away and at my max range, I'm being pretty inaccurate. So why not take a few steps forward so that you can get closer to your calibration distance, maybe even go under it, and be way more accurate. I'm going to do more damage, do it quicker, and I'm going to use less ammunition to do it. But do beware the risk-reward of this kind of tactic. I could get even closer now. I can get right up in this Bloodthirster's face and do tons of damage very quickly, but I run the risk that because I'm so close to the unit, he may decide to come after me, and he doesn't have very far to travel, so he can get to me quickly and easily, more so than if I was twice the distance away. I could, for example, if I saw that Bloodthirster coming in, bring both of my Streltsy units up nice and close and try to get them both firing on him at the same time, and they can put a lot of damage on him very quickly because they're so close. But of course, there's a big risk that the Bloodthirster will come after us, or some other unit will come after us, so it's high risk, high reward. Another example here, let's say I've got these Skull Crushers out wide, they're attacking my bears, but I've got a good angle on them, I can hit them, but where I am now, I'm at the edge of my range, my max range, so I can just get a little bit closer. Just creep that little bit closer so my boys are a bit more accurate, they will do more damage and spend less ammo. It's these kind of little opportunities that I'm trying to get you to look out for as a tactic. There's times where you can move your missile units or artillery units closer and be far more efficient with your ammunition. So understand, you're not doing something wrong if you shoot at units at max range, unless you're missing the opportunity to get closer and make better use of your ammo. It's not always going to be possible, and it's very often going to be risky, but it can be worth it. So during the heat of battle, try to keep an eye out for those little opportunities where you can take a few steps forward just to be more accurate. And ultimately, just be aware that shooting at things at the end of your range isn't the best, and if you're just doing that and then forgetting about it, you might be quite inefficient with your ammo. I hope you've enjoyed this, thanks for watching, I will see you in the future.